News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
The wind we got last night and this morning caused devastating effects in the Northwest. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It's Wednesday, November 18th, 2015. Right now, it's very windy. We have 36 degrees in Missoula. At least 3 people have died. Hundreds of thousands were without power as severe storms packing high winds unleashed across the Northwest. Police said a woman in her 50s was killed when a tree toppled, taking power lines down as it fell in Spokane yesterday. Fire crews were unable to resuscitate the woman. Another woman died after a tree fell on her car on a highway about 15 miles southwest of Spokane. A man in his 20s was killed when a tree crushed his car as he was driving near Sultan in Snohomish County. Again, that's in Washington State. Now, here in Missoula, I spoke with Trent Smith with the National Weather Service, who gave us the wind gusts that have been recorded in western Montana.
At 1:30, we had a gust to 59 miles per hour here in Missoula. Corvallis had a gust of 54 miles per hour around 2 o'clock in the morning. Butte had a gust to 51 miles per hour at 3 o'clock this morning. Hot Springs had a gust to 64 around 12:15 in the morning.
Smith said the worst of the wind has passed us now. University of Montana President Royce Engstrom faced nearly 300 university employees, professors, and students, including in overflow rooms yesterday, with a hard message. We must learn to live within our means, and that reduced enrollment has brought about some very hard choices.
With the subsequent decline in enrollment, we're now in a personnel-heavy state, if you will, with more employees than our revenue sources can support, and too much of our available money spent on people, leaving an insufficient amount for operating expenses.
Engstrom says the university must adjust the number of faculty to 606 and non-faculty to 849. This would require reductions equivalent to 52 full-time faculty positions and 149 full-time non-faculty.
Going forward, we will therefore set a faculty number based on a student-to-faculty ratio of 18:1, and those are full-time equivalent calculations. That also correlates with spending at least 50% of our budget on instruction.
Engstrom named some specific programs to be consolidated to save money.
Journalism, anthropology, English, geography, liberal studies, art, political science, forestry management, and the Missoula College programs of carpentry, building maintenance, and recreational power equipment. The deans will work together to identify where these specific numbers will come from.
Engstrom also announced a new vice president position to specifically work to increase enrollment using all tools possible, including social media. He closed by reminding everyone in the room that they were all recruiters and all must pitch in to help grow enrollment. A panel of commissioners set by the Missoula District Court has announced a final valuation for the Mountain Water Company at $88.6 million, nearly double the $46 million the city wanted to pay, and about half the $146 million Carlisle had hoped for. Ward 2's Adam Hertz has comments.
The valuation panel came back with a unanimous decision on the value, with a number that I'm not surprised to see, given that it fairly closely mirrors what Liberty Utilities was willing to pay for the system.
Hertz said the final numbers that the city and its taxpayers would have to pay could end up being much higher.
If the city were to move forward with this, and that the actual bonds that would be floated would be significantly higher, because it would need to include legal fees, it would need to include underwriting costs. It would likely be in excess of $100 million.
The City Council will have to approve the final bonding amount, whatever that may be. The topic will likely be brought up at the next City Council meeting. New campaign rules requiring more disclosure from Montana candidates and political committees will be adopted after a legislative committee failed to muster enough votes to delay them. Commissioner of Political Practices Jonathan Modell said his office plans to adopt the rules later this week or early next week. They'll become effective after they're published by the Montana Secretary of State, likely early next year. Missoula City Council approved a project during Monday night's meeting that would build a massive walking bridge to span South Reserve at Old Highway 93. Missoula Redevelopment Agency Director Ellen Buchanan said the project would cost about $5.1 million in tax revenue increment bonds to complete.
The concept of this bridge has been around for years. I think the catalyst to make it happen right now was the Tiger grant that the county was given that is allowing the construction of the Missoula to Lolo Trail.
Buchanan said the bridge that would span the 4 lanes of reserve is designed to be more than just utilitarian.
This not be a utilitarian over the interstate type of bridge, but that it really function as a gateway into Missoula because it's in a very gateway location. And so there are a lot of architectural features that are part of this bridge that didn't necessarily add to the cost, but will certainly add to the aesthetics.
Buchanan said construction of the bridge would probably be completed by the end of summer of 2016. The state is investigating the death of an inmate at the Cascade County Regional Detention Center in Great Falls. The Department of Justice says the 53-year-old man was found dead in his cell during a routine check at about 3 o'clock Tuesday morning. He was alone in his cell at the time. Cascade County Sheriff's Office identified the inmate as Douglas Allen Stratton. The Sheriff's Office asked Division of Criminal Investigation agents to investigate the death because the Sheriff's Office runs the jail. Fergus County Coroner Dick Brown will oversee the case. No information on Stratton's cause of death has yet been released. Some Montanans who took online college courses may soon find their student loan debt forgiven. After a recent settlement agreement, Montana Assistant Attorney General Kelly Hubbard explains.
The state of Montana reached a settlement with a company called EDMC and some of its associated for-profit schools, such as Argosy University of California, South University, Brown Mackey Education, and the Art Institutes.
The settlement came after many accused the schools of unfair business practices.
The settlement is in response to a couple of practices that those schools used that were unfair and deceptive in violation of Montana law. For instance, they used high-pressure tactics to get students to enroll. They made false claims regarding their program's accreditation, and they misrepresented job placement data to students.
Though former students won't see any checks in the mail, Hubbard says in the first 3 months of 2017, former students will find a letter notifying them that their account balance is zero. News Talk time now is 6:12.
Newstalk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Breezy conditions and a few snow flurries possible early today. Becoming partly sunny by the afternoon with our highs right around the 40-degree mark. Winds will remain quite breezy with wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for Missoula's KECI 13.